Thank you, Mr Chair. Well, this is it. I think we look like we're going to be wrapping up the committee stages on the Parana Park, Hamilton City Council Parana Park Land Investing Bill, and I just couldn't let Clause 10 go without just coming back to the main purpose, because this is the repeal of the Hamilton City Parana Park Empowering Act 1958. So I guess this really comes back to the main issue, because in repealing that bill, of course, I think it's quite sad really that now there will be the last legislative record of the link between Parana Park and George Parr by repealing that bill. And I understand entirely why that bill needs to be repealed, so that this more modernised, more flexible bill can be put in its place, and that will give Hamilton City Council the certainty they need in moving forward and managing this piece of land, and I think that's very important. So I don't want to take away from that at all. But I do just want to reflect on that sometimes when we repeal Acts of Parliament, we actually pose the problem of taking away part of the history of what has gone beforehand, and particularly with the gifting of this particular piece of land. Because I think in the Empowering Act, the Hamilton City Parana Park Empowering Act 1958, which has been repealed by Clause 10 of this bill, that there was reference to the last will and testament of George Parr. And in an earlier clause, we actually removed that from being in this piece of legislation, and yes, can understand the reasons for that, but it's with some sadness that I think that we removed the Parr family name forever from legislation when it comes to this piece of land. Of course, that doesn't mean that the Parr name will be removed forever in non-legislative information about Parana Park. I'm sure that in the Hamilton City Council Library that there will still remain to be the entire story of Parana Park and its history, and I know the Parliamentary Library now has quite a lot of information on the history of Parana Park and its gifting, and in particular on George Parr and what he brought to the city of Hamilton. So I know that the history will not be lost in writing, but it certainly will be that link between George Parr and this piece of land will no longer exist in a legislative sense. And I do feel that that's a little bit sad, because George Parr, as we know, was a man of great vision. He did have that vision, and that, I guess, that kindness to actually set aside this land for the children, actually, of our city. And I think that's a great thing that George Parr did. He has created, by gifting this piece of land to the city, he's created a piece of land that many thousands, hundreds of thousands of people actually over the courses of time will have precious family memories gathered at Parana Park because of his generosity. Now, if that land had stayed in private hands, then that would never have taken place. All of those memories that members of Parliament themselves have been able to offer forward in this debate as being memories precious to their own families would never have been able to take place on that piece of land right beside the Waikato River if it was still in private hands. And so I think that's something that I'd like the government members to be reflecting on, about how important it is for public access to these pieces of land, because it does make a difference to our families, and it does actually make a difference to our history. And George Parr was a person who understood that. He privately owned that land. It had been land that had been confiscated, and I'm not sure whether he was even aware of that history, because he was not the first owner of that land post the confiscation from Tainui. And he may not have even realised that what he was doing was returning a piece of land to the people that had come from the people. So it's quite a remarkable thing that he did, and in Clause 10, repealing the Hamilton City Parana Park Empowering Act of 1958, that will be the last piece of legislation that will actually record his generosity and make reference to his last will and testament. And I think that is a little sad. I understand the reasons for that, Mr Chair, but I wanted to take the opportunity in debating Clause 10 to make sure that the Parr family, and in particular George Parr's contribution to our city, is not forgotten.
Chair.